Hey guys, and welcome to another episode. Today I'm going to give you guys an update on what I've done to my car. Now, I've done an update video a while ago for you guys. I think it was back in 2013, and I haven't put one out for you guys since. And since then, I've done a decent amount of stuff. So today I'm going to give you the rundown of all the stuff that I've done to my car. So we'll cut straight to the goodies. Under the hood, I've done a little bit of work, as you can tell. This is not exactly a stock Honda Accord engine bay. So up top, to start off, I've painted up my stock strut bar, and I put a Progress sticker on it. Looks nice. I painted my two engine covers, this one here and this one up here for the spark plugs. I changed my oil cap right there to a Mugen Oil Cap filter. Down here I installed a throttle body spacer from P2R. I installed a Takeda short ram intake, and it sounds very nice. I swapped out my dead battery when it died for an Optima battery, and this thing is ridiculous. I love this thing. Over here I've got my power lines for my subwoofer, and when I get to the trunk I'll show you guys that. Under the engine bay, all I basically did was a little bit of engine dress up and an intake. If we cut into the back here, I don't know how good the lighting is and everything, but I've got my catless downpipe for my exhaust. You can see my oxygen sensor up there with that green wire. There we go. So that's my cat, or that's where my cat should be. This sticker, what is that talking about? Well, that's the sticker that came with my suspension setup. So when I lowered it, it came with this from H&R, and all it's saying is blah, 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 the car's got a different suspension, it handles a little bit different than stock. Now, what I did is I actually lowered this thing, front and back, with H&R lowering springs, and it made a very big difference on the way the car looks and the way it handled. Now, handling wise, the biggest difference that I noticed was when I installed my larger sway bars front and back. On the front, I changed it to an Acura TL front sway bar, and in the back, I changed it to an, the Progress 22mm sway bar. In the back, I've got adjustable end links. Let's see if I can see them. Yeah, you can't see them right here, but I've got adjustable end links in the back, and the larger ones from the Acura TL in the front. It made a huge difference, and now my car does not lean at all when I go through a turn. I forgot to mention up here, see that little horn? That is actually hooked up to my aftermarket security system and starter. It's a Viper 5704 starter, and that's what you're hearing, the little horn right there in the corner. Now, I soon plan to wrap my intake in gold, and my exhaust down there, my downpipe, I plan on wrapping that in titanium. When I actually get around to doing those modifications, I'll give you guys a better idea as to why I'm doing it and what are the benefits of each. If you close the hood, I didn't really close it, but if you look at the front end of the car, this is not stock either by any means. I changed my headlights. I bought new headlights, new stock ones, and I sent them over to a buddy of mine, Richard, at HID Illusions, and he blacked out the internals, and he wrapped the side in carbon fiber. He wrapped it in the carbon fiber wrap. It looks ridiculous. I get lots of compliments all the time about these things. They look completely different than stock. That's a better shot. Yeah, they look very different. Nighttime, these things are amazing. I changed the bulbs inside of them too to 55 watt HIDs. They're 5000K bulbs in there, so it's a very nice white light. If you come up to the front, you can see my aftermarket grille. You can see my aftermarket hella horns in behind there. These things are stupid loud. If someone cuts me off, trust me, they know. You can also see my all-fit lip on the bottom of the car. Now, the lip does look very nice, and I didn't install the extra washers and screws underneath. And you can tell that it's starting to come up only because of how fast I drive. Now, in reality, I don't drive 100 kilometers an hour on the highway. I might drive maybe 102, maybe 103. And because of it, the lip is coming off. Now, when I do this again, I'm definitely gonna have to put on those nylon washers, but that's only because of my bumper style. It's very aggressive in these corners, and this builds up like a high pressure area, because the wind and everything comes in this spot and comes up and wants to basically push this part down. You can see it did it in both sides. Now, they don't look aftermarket, but I installed OEM fog lights down below. My model car didn't come with them, and I installed those to make it look a little clean. Coming around to the corners, I've got TSW wheels. These are TSW Mirabeau wheels. Now, I've got in the front 8 inches, and in the back I've got 9.5. I also wrapped these in Continental DW tires. In the front I'm rocking 235s, in the back I'm rocking 255s. This makes a very big difference, and these are much grippier than the stock tires that they came with. My car handles and turns like you wouldn't believe. The benefit of being a 4-cylinder too is that the front end is a little bit lighter, so I get better balance when I'm going around turns. This thing corners like you wouldn't believe. Like, I can't get over on how good this thing handles. Behind the wheel, you can see I've got aftermarket brakes. Now I've got StopTech cross-drilled and ventilated rotors paired up inside there with Hawk Performance HPS ceramic pads. Now I noticed almost no brake fade with these things no matter how hard you drive it. Now I pushed my car very hard and it's doing great for me, and these brakes hold up very well. You get little to no brake fade when you're rocking these things and you're really pushing the car. And when you're driving at like regular speeds, there's no squealing or anything. I'm very happy with this setup. The only downfall to this is that, if you can tell, one sec, let's see if I can get the camera to zoom in, but there's like a decent amount of brake dust that comes off of these things. Especially on the brakes. Like, see that? Yep. And I just washed my car last week. Moving down to the back, I've got the same setup. Essentially, I've got wider wheels in the back than the fronts, and I've got, again, inside the StopTech brakes along with the Hawk pads. Moving to the back end of the car, I've got stock regular taillights, but inside of them, I'm rocking LEDs. The LEDs up here are the same color as the front. These are from VLEDs.com, along with the ones for here for the turn signal and down here for the brakes. They're very bright, especially at nighttime. They do a very good job. Now my Honda is a 4-cylinder, and from the OEM, from the manufacturer, this spoiler did not come with it. I actually installed this afterwards, along with this Honda emblem right here. This is a red JDM badge. I like it, looks good, especially with the color scheme of my car. Coming down here, I've got my plate with like a regular stainless steel frame around it. My exhaust back here. Now I switched it back to my stock catback exhaust, only because I got too much attention with the cops. Now, from the looks of it, it does look stock, but when you turn the car on, it's not, because I don't have any of my cats installed on my car. Now, some of the goodies that I have in my trunk are as follows. So now with it open, you can see my aftermarket subs. So when you get back here, you can see both of my JL8W7s. Now these things pound like you wouldn't believe. They're small, 8 inches, but holy shit do they move a lot of air. I've got them inside a custom ported box right now, and it's wrapped in red suede. I did have a face cover right here, but the thing is, the way I was driving kind of hard one day, and I didn't have these straps hooked in. All I had were like little L brackets that were holding this thing in place. And when I turned too hard, the entire thing let loose and then broke that and snapped that in half. So right now, they're bitch strapped in, and yeah. I've got to basically clean it up a little bit more, but these subs still work, and holy shit, do they pound. These ratchet straps that I've got hooked up in here, if I can get them to focus, are basically the only way that I was able to get these speakers in without moving. I did the top, and then I did the little bottom support right here. Now I've got the amp hooked up on the back side. I've got an JL HD 1200x1 amp, and I've got no complaints with these things. Like, these things pound so hard. After I installed these subs into my car, I actually realized that everything in my car shakes. So what I had to do to fix that is I installed sound deadening on the doors, the roof, the trunk lid, everything, anywhere that I could really put this stuff, I did. So if you peel back some of these panels and everything, you can see that I've got my sound deadening inside of there. I've got it wrapped up all along the floor. Like, when you move this back, you can see I've got the sound deadening everywhere. Now it's all underneath this stuff. It makes a very big difference on the way the car feels and the way it sounds. I do plan on throwing speakers into my car. Now I plan on getting C2s or JLC3s along with an amp to go with it. Now right now they're a little expensive and it's kind of out of my price range, so I've got to save up for a couple months while I'm still paying for my stupid ass insurance. But after that, yeah, I'll have speakers and I'll definitely throw up a video for you guys. Now moving our way to the inside of the car, you can see my aftermarket interior. Now what I've done is I painted up all of these red pieces on the inside, and it really changed the way my car looked. I also painted up these red gauges up here. Now the way I did that is I took off this piece, and basically everything, took it all apart, took it all out, and then painted up those rings red. On the inside I've got aftermarket shift boot, what the hell is that thing called? Armrest, and I had an e-brake boot, but I didn't really like it because it kind of got in the way on both sides. I've got an aftermarket shift knob. It's a Momo shift knob. I think it's really nice. Now I've got my license plate attached to the front side of my mirror right here, and I can flip it up or flip it down whenever I want. Say if I'm going in a photo shoot or I want to take a sweet picture, I just flip that up and my front end looks clear. I've got Husky floor liners, or floor mats, whatever the hell you guys want to call them. Got them all around. Now these things are really sweet. They're contoured to my car, made specifically for it, and any snow or any salt gets inside here and it stays in there. These things are amazing in the winter. When you get in the car and you honk the horn, stupid loud. I've got my aftermarket subs hooked up to my stock head unit. Now it's really sweet because up here, I can choose my subwoofer, gain, and all that stuff, no problem. So I've got a separate spot for my sub, and then a separate one for the bass. So it's basically like an aftermarket head unit without a clean sweep. Not sure if you guys noticed, but I've also got custom engraved Acura door sills. It's kind of hard to see with the lighting, but yeah, they're engraved and they're etched in Acura. I've got them on both sides. I got these from YoSpeed.com. You guys can check it out. I'll throw a link in the description for it if you guys want some. Now I still think that one of my sweetest aftermarket things installed in my car is my security system. Now it's got a security system, remote starter, and a whole bunch of other features built into it. Now with the car locked, it's very sensitive. So if you walk past the car, now you can see I'm not touching it at all, so I'm just walking up to it, windows down. If I get too close, this is what happens. It'll start chirping at me, and I'll set it off. It's that sensitive. It's got a field disturbance sensor. Where is it? Up there. It's got a little sensor that monitors anything that comes close. So if you come in the car, say you go in and try and steal something, it'll set it off and go off. Something else that I find sweet is that I can actually start my car with my remote starter. The only way that I can do this is if I put the car in neutral and then press this button, the remote start button. So the car's running and everything, no one in it. See it's running? Well, after that, you unlock it. Come in. Put the key in the ignition before you press the brake. Press the brake, and then you disengage the remote starter system. And then you just drive it like a regular manual car. Now, a lot of you guys are gonna be like, oh my gosh, how the hell do you have one of those things installed on a manual car? Well, I have actually got a bypass for this system so I could run it, because most cars that you install this on are automatic, and you're gonna need a clutch bypass to start it up. Because notice, whenever you start up a car that's stick, you can't just put your foot on the brake and turn and crank the key. You have to have the clutch fully engaged. So you need to have a separate bypass system for that, so the car will start when the car is in neutral. Now, even though I've got a huge list of stuff that I've already done in my car, don't think for a second that I'm done with it. I've still got a lot of more stuff I want to do. So I want to wrap the intake, wrap the exhaust, install coilovers, dip it, audio system. I want to redo my headlights again. There's a whole bunch of stuff that I still want to do, even though I've already done stuff to it. Again, guys, if you have any questions regarding this video or any mods that I've done in my car, please post them down in the comments below, and I'd be happy to help. Again, guys, thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.